I'm getting remarried because my 19-year-old lover is pregnant. Here, take this divorce paper. It was an abrupt and awful statement. Yet, I calmly took the divorce paper. I'll sign it now. My name is Harper Odom, I'm 37 years old. My husband, Jacob, and I were what you'd call high school sweethearts. I'm taking care of 3 kids. Our oldest son is in daycare, and last year, I had twin boys who are now 1 year old. All 3 are quite rambunctious, and parenting is really tough, but I also manage the care of my in-laws and household chores. Frankly, I'm busy, but there's someone who doesn't understand that busyness. Jacob. Jacob does hardly any housework, childcare, or elder care. You know, just because you're handling the housework, childcare, and elder care, lately you've been acting so high and mighty. You weren't this arrogant before, you know. Don't get carried away. I'm busier than you, and you want me to help with housework and childcare? What are you talking about? It's for others to decide if you're working hard, not you. You can't even understand that, you can hardly be called a housewife. It's pathetic, really. Be grateful I'm even feeding you. After saying that, Jacob grabbed his briefcase, dressed in his suit, and went off to work. I sighed. Harper, is it Jacob again? Father-in-law. While I was taking our oldest son to daycare and feeding the twins, my father-in-law spoke up. Really, what does he think he is? You're the reason we have our current lifestyle, and yet he treats you like a failed daughter-in-law. That idiot son of mine, really. It's okay, father-in-law. I don't mind, and I'll forget about it soon enough. It's fine, let him call me a failed wife. But still. This understanding father-in-law always supports me. He sees me, who has given birth to 3 boys, not as a failed daughter-in-law but rather as an accomplished one. That alone is a relief. Although his legs are weak, he's still able to manage his daily life. The problem is my mother-in-law, who has dementia and calls me the maid, and she tends to wander off. Harper, I'll feed the twins, can you check on mother? I just can't handle it. Understood. Please give this food to the twins. If you have any questions, just call me right away. I asked my father-in-law to take care of the twins and went to check on my mother-in-law. Maid. Yes, what is it? Another day of caring for my mother-in-law and the twins awaits. But it's inevitable. Eventually, everyone goes through something like this, and it's not like my mother-in-law wanted to get dementia. Housework, childcare, elder care. Since getting married, there has been no help from my husband, and I've been looking after his parents all along. My father-in-law isn't quite demented yet, but his legs are weak, so he's given up his driver's license. So when we need to go shopping or to the doctor, I'm always there. The kids are still young, and the twins, born just last year, are experts at breaking toys. I'm like a woman with her hair on fire, working hard every day. I don't even have time to call friends, but today was lucky. My father-in-law was taking care of my mother-in-law, and the twins both happened to nap at noon, so I finally got to call a friend. Kinsley? It's been a while. How are you? The voice on the other end of the phone was a school friend, a woman who didn't know Jacob. Yeah, I'm fine. You sound so glum, though. Ah, so I do sound like that. I mean, I'm okay with my life now, but I guess I'm just tired. From morning till night, housework, childcare, elder care. No break, just tired. Where's your husband? Doesn't he help with anything? He won't even take out the trash to save himself from embarrassment. He's the worst. What's that about? Sounds like grounds for divorce. What are you gonna do moving forward? Well, but there's also my father-in-law and mother-in-law to consider, so I really can't just go for a divorce, especially with the kids still being so young. My oldest is still in daycare, right? He's still in his clingy phase, and the twin boys are just babies. What would happen to my in-laws and sons if I were kicked out of the house? Plus, my mother-in-law's dementia is getting worse by the day. She's calling me. Looks like it's gonna be another busy day. Thanks for always listening. Bye. Don't overdo it. I hung up the phone and peeked into my mother-in-law's bedroom. Yes, what is it? Maid. My mother-in-law wasn't always demented. For a while after I got married, she used to dote on me. But gradually, her condition became odd, and she was diagnosed with dementia the year before last. Every day, it's a triple challenge of housework, childcare, and elder care. Even though my father-in-law is around, there's no break in sight. I know it. My oldest is still a toddler, and the second and third are just babies. I need to hold myself together. But at this moment, I didn't yet realize that trying to do it all by myself was actually choking me. I was getting tangled in an inescapable negative cycle. And then, that night, unusually cheerful, Jacob came home and said, "We're getting divorced." His smiling words shook me. What? Why? Because my 19-year-old lover is pregnant, and I'm gonna remarry. Here, take this divorce paper. At that moment, something inside me broke. The very thing I had been struggling with tightened its grip around my neck. But I knew it. So I told him, "I'll sign it right now." Oh. You understand? Good for you. She could give birth any day now, she's full term. I'm glad we could settle this. Well, I owe you thanks. Jacob was smirking, but he didn't realize something. But I said nothing and signed the divorce papers, then started to pack my things. As I was packing my clothes, Jacob's insults continued. A plain woman like you isn't fit to be my wife. And yet you've stuck around. You claim it's to take care of my mother, but you just don't want to go back to your parents, right? Putting on airs won't do you any good. Truly pathetic, miserable, and despicable woman. You have some nerve, aren't you ashamed? Please stop, the kids and your father might wake up. Oops, a phone call. Hello, oh Nova. The baby's coming. Of course, I'll be there. The usual hospital, right? I'll be right there. Wait for me. Daddy's coming right away. Jacob left the house without another word. What kind of relationship Jacob and his lover, Nova, had didn't matter to me anymore. I imagined what Nova's future might hold. Anyway, I couldn't leave the house today. When the kids wake up, someone needs to take care of them. A few days later, as usual, I was taking care of the kids and my in-laws when Jacob came back home. It's a girl. Perfect since we only have boys. Oh, and the kids are mine. You couldn't support them anyway. So, I'll take them and you can leave without worry. What? You're still here? Get out already. Trying to garner sympathy is useless. Nova's taking your place. Hearing this, I felt foolish for hesitating and grabbed my bag. There was no real discussion. I deliberately let Jacob have custody of the kids. Moreover, Jacob had even prepared a document ensuring I would never come near this house again, and I signed it. Was he that eager to get rid of me? There. What's this? You actually listen well? A miserable and pathetic woman like you should be grateful I even picked you up. Now it's going to be lovey-dovey with Nova. I'm looking forward to it. Meanwhile, someone entered the house. A young woman, holding a baby. She seemed to have just given birth. Hello. I'm Nova. Are you the ex-wife? Like Jacob, the mistress was grinning. Just boys, so glad it was a girl. Without meeting her gaze, I quickly headed for the front door. Then Nova spitefully followed me. Think birthing a boy makes you superior? Because you provided an heir, you think you're something special? No, think whatever you want. Angry beyond the point of adult restraint, I stormed out and went to my parents' house. Upon returning, my mother greeted me. You've lost so much weight. You were supposed to be a bit chubby, now you look like a skeleton. My mother listened to my story. I told her I had divorced, and though she was furious, I could already foresee the near future. Anyway, I took the moment to care for myself, finally free from housework, childcare, and caregiving. I'd praise myself if I could. Then, a call from Jacob came quickly. It was the 5th day since I returned home.
Please come back, I was wrong. Really, I was so wrong. Look, we're still married, right? It was just a silly joke.
We're divorced, aren't we? I have no home to return to. Please, make a love nest with your mistress. Good luck.
Please, I'm begging. I was wrong. You're still my wife.
I already knew the situation. Not that Jacob told me, but I could easily imagine what would happen once I left. What about Nova? Your mistress and all that? Isn't she better at cleaning, cooking, childcare, and even caregiving than me? Then you don't need me.
That coward has already left. She's not here anymore. Please, come back. We're still married.
I signed the divorce papers, remember? And the agreement?
I threw them all out. I haven't filed them. Just come back, please. I'm begging you.
I ignored that call twice. I had signed the divorce papers and written the agreement. There was no reason for me to return. But considering the kids, I thought about going back once. Returning to the in-laws' house, I faced a grim scene. I'm hungry, cried my oldest son, and the twin boys were also screaming. Their cries sounded almost like screams. The mother-in-law wandered around yelling, "Maid, maid," while the father-in-law and Jacob hung their heads. First, I made food for the children and bathed them. The twin boys had severe diaper rash. I frantically searched for diaper rash cream because of it. And I soothed the baby girl sleeping in the new crib. Then my mother-in-law approached me anxiously.
Maid, maid.
Yes, let's go to bed. It's okay, come this way. After calming the situation, I confronted Jacob. Where's Nova? Your affair partner? She can do everything better than me, right?
Well, she left and hasn't come back. She's rejecting my calls and emails. I can't get in touch.
I thought as much.
You knew. Then why did you leave this house unattended? Dad and I struggled, and, well, Nova was probably overwhelmed too.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
What do you mean? If you knew, then why?
You can imagine, right? Someone who has never raised a child suddenly trying to be a mother to 4? It's impossible, reckless, and absurd. But did you help with the housework, childcare, or elder care? You should have, right? We're married, aren't we?
Well, that is
pitiful.
Any parent should know that you can't suddenly do it. Don't you understand that? Having children isn't the end, it's just the start. Do you think you can manage pregnancy, childbirth, and raising kids with half-hearted commitment? And you thought a 19-year-old could handle it with mom like that? You underestimate housework, childcare, and elder care. I'd take any help I can get, but a child can't handle it. Don't you get that?
At that point, the father-in-law came out, seemingly apologetic. Harper, I'm sorry for what my son has done. Won't you come back? Please.
First, bring Nova back. She lacks maternal awareness. Leaving a child like this, where did she go? She gave birth just 2 weeks ago, right? That's why I can't contact her either. So, what are you planning to do with this girl? You know, parenting isn't that easy. You're responsible for a child's life. What are you thinking?
Jacob and the father-in-law fell silent. I was satisfied that my point had been made. When my mother-in-law interrupted again, I took her back to bed. I soothed the twins. Jacob was playing with the oldest son, but it seemed like he was just trying to appease me. The father-in-law said, "My wife, it has to be you, Harper." "It's okay. You're not at fault, father-in-law."
Mama!
The oldest son cried out, so I picked him up. "What's wrong?"
I want mom. I want mom.
He said and smiled when I soothed him, happily playing with his toys. And? Where did Nova go? Her parents' place?
Well, she sent this email,
Jacob said, hesitantly showing me the message. It read that she was tired and had been disowned by her family. So, after kicking me out, Nova couldn't handle caring for your parents or raising 3 kids, and just broke down, abandoning her own child too. It's no wonder her family disowned her. Where did you meet Nova? She's 19, right? A college student?
Nova, well, she's a girl I met at a bar. She was working part-time. So, while I was frantic with housework, childcare, and elder care, you weren't helping but going out to bars? You were just fooling around. Who's pathetic now? Really?
Harper, let's leave it at that.
No, father-in-law, let me speak. I need to say this here, to make clear who is right, with sound reasoning. I really messed up, I'm sorry. I'm telling you I was wrong. What are you still unhappy about? So, what do you mean by I messed up? You think you can just talk down to me and that makes it okay? Overall, just... she's back.
Then the rumored mistress returned. From her tone, she seemed clueless about what she had done. I was infuriated by Nova's attitude.
Nova, where have you been? Not even taking care of your own child. Well, it's just a little break to clear my head. A break that lasts for 3 days. I'm appalled by you. What did you say? It's not my fault, it's Jacob's. Whenever I asked for a little help with the housework, he'd just say he's too busy with work and wouldn't help. Because of Jacob, I got kicked out of my parents' house, and they don't even want to see me. I have nowhere else to go but here. Why do I have to be scolded so much? I'm not wrong. It's all Jacob's fault. What did you say? Wait.
Before the argument escalated further, I interjected.
What are you doing in front of the children? Look, they're frightened.
Everyone looked and saw the eldest son and the twin boys with scared expressions inside the playpen, nervously playing with their toys.
What are you saying in front of the children? What are you talking about? You leaving the house is the problem. You're supposed to do the housework and caregiving. But you just left on your own, dumped everything on me, and I'm so tired, but no one notices. This isn't what I wanted for childcare or housework. The children aren't even cute to me, this isn't what I wanted at all.
Suddenly, I found myself slapping Nova's cheek. Everyone went silent. Nova looked at me with defiant eyes.
What, now you're using violence? You're a disgrace as a mother. No, there's something wrong with you as a person. What did you say? You don't find your own child cute while she's right in front of you? How can you even say such a thing? A mother always puts her child first, no matter what. Right now, you're just like a child yourself, only thinking about yourself. If anything had happened to the child while you were out, it would have been all your fault. Children don't know any better, and if something happened, it would be too late to fix.
Tears streaming, Nova began to sob. She knew who was to blame for the wrongdoing.
Before you start making your claims, apologize to your daughter. Doing anything for your child, that's what being a mother is all about. You don't understand what being a mother is. Giving birth might make you a mother, but bowing your head for your child, that's what a parent does. Until you understand that, you're just a woman, not a mother.
Nova broke down crying. Jacob stood there, not rushing to Nova's side, just staring blankly. I picked up the bag I brought. Well, I'm divorced and lost custody, so I'm leaving. Enjoy your life with Nova.
Wait! You don't find your own child cute? You're saying something different now.
Since I'm divorced from you and have no custody, what are you going to do? Make a 19-year-old girl a divorced single mom? I refuse to go back to being a maid.
No, but that. I've brought the agreement. If you're going to pay alimony, you should pay for both me and Nova, right? You think that doesn't make sense? You played with the feelings of a 19-year-old girl and even got her pregnant. Do you think pregnancy is just a woman's issue? Don't joke. There's also a man's responsibility in pregnancy. You have plenty of responsibility. No, I mean, that's true, but I can't pay for both. Oh, really? You think that's going to work? What do you think, father-in-law? What will you do?
Jacob, if you're going to atone, you should pay for both.
But paying for both, that's a lot of money. If you're going to whine about it, I'm leaving. You always blame me and do nothing, and this is the result. Look at the reality. You try to escape without taking any responsibility. Don't you feel pathetic as a man? And what about Nova? How can she take care of the house, kids, and your parents while she's in this state, crying her eyes out? You've committed that sin. Do you understand? Don't run away from it.
Jacob, Harper is right. You can't run from your sins.
But, you have 3 things to do. Apologize to Nova. Apologize to your own parents and children. And apologize to me. Make sure you pay the alimony. You're just running from your own weaknesses. Pay up for all the nagging. That's how you atone for your sins, right? Ugh, that's not wrong. You know it. Now, go apologize to the children, to Nova, and your parents too. You can apologize to me last. You're an adult, right? Nova might have neglected her parenting duties, but you've always neglected them. Always work, and never even tried to interact with your children. And now you say alimony is impossible? If you think that's acceptable, you're worse than a child. How dare you? Jacob. Harper is right. Do everything Harper said, you fool. Ugh, don't yell in front of the kids. I have every right to be angry. Don't use the children as leverage now. I can adhere to the agreement you made me sign, right? We can clarify the alimony with a lawyer, right? Shall we do that? The agreement you made me sign is a solid reason for alimony, isn't it? Shall we decide the monthly alimony payments here, or go to a lawyer? I'm fine with telling everything to a lawyer. Your harassment is unavoidable harassment. Be prepared, right? Father, Jacob, your father isn't on your side. Why? Why isn't anyone on my side? Jacob, how low can you go? In this situation, you think Harper is wrong? No way. Pull yourself together. Father isn't going to do anything for you. Harper, I'm really sorry about this fool of a son. Please come back. My wife will wander off otherwise. Father-in-law, I'm sorry, but I'll go to my parents' house until he pays the alimony. Divorced, forced to sign that agreement, and no apology or alimony? How can that be acceptable?
Firmly, I stated this, and finally, Jacob collapsed into a seat. I pulled out the agreement Jacob made me sign from my bag. Look, it says never come near this house again, right? I'm just following that, aren't I? What would your classmates think if they knew you're such a childish person? Ah. As I flaunted the agreement, Jacob grabbed it and tore it up on the spot. And he laughed. This means the agreement is void now. Ah, that was just a copy. Eh? Jacob's face fell in dismay. Did you think I'd bring the original? I'm not that naive. So, what about the alimony? Persistently, I pressed Jacob for an answer. We can't let him escape now. This man must pay for his sins.
I'll pay it. I'll pay alimony to both Harper and Nova. So, please come back. I haven't filed the divorce or marriage papers with Nova. We're still married, so.
Make sure you pay properly. With the father-in-law and Nova present, we decided the amount of alimony. I made Jacob sign a contract to ensure he pays the alimony. Jacob was driven out of the house by his father.
Father, why? I don't want to live with someone like you. You've been a burden to Harper and Nova. Live alone for a while. And make sure you pay the alimony. Father!
As Jacob was expelled at the doorstep, he sat there for a while before disappearing somewhere. The remaining issue was Nova.
Can't you rely on relatives? Are you really cut off from your parents?
Yes, I have no one to turn to. I was a burden at home. I want to properly take care of my child. Can I stay here? I'll do any housework or caregiving. Her words lacked vigor, but it seemed Nova was reflecting in her own way.
I would really like you to stay here, but I think it's best if Nova seeks welfare support. Are you okay? Do you have any knowledge of welfare? Or not?
I don't. I have no idea what to do next.
Don't worry, despite how I may look, I do have knowledge of welfare.
After that, I introduced Nova to an acquaintance involved in welfare services. I recommended a temporary facility for mothers with children, which is different from a shelter. Harper, I really misspoke. I am truly sorry. And thank you. I will start over here with my daughter.
You expressed that well. It's okay, you can do it. I'm raising 3 kids myself, so it's manageable. When you face difficulties, it's all right to rely on various people. That's also a part of being a mother.
Nova didn't say anything but bowed deeply and entered the mother-child facility. Thus, I sent Nova off and returned to my own home. 6 years have passed since then. The twin boys who were 1-year-old are now in elementary school, and the eldest son, who was in daycare, is now in middle school. Jacob, who was driven out of the house, has not shown up since then, but he has been faithfully paying alimony. Since then, both my mother-in-law and father-in-law have passed away due to health issues, but my father-in-law left me his assets in a will, which has made my life financially stable. I wonder where Jacob is now and what he's doing. But it feels like he might be involved with another woman, so I won't bother looking for him. Occasionally, I receive emails from Nova. If Jacob hadn't interfered, Nova could have had a different life. But now, she seems to be living with her daughter, whom she named Camila. It's good to hear she's doing well. And when my eldest son was about to enter high school, I suddenly received an email from Jacob. He has been working multiple jobs to pay the alimony for 2 people every month. It was an email asking for a reduction in alimony, but I have no intention of reducing it. I decided to ignore the email and blocked his number. A few years later, when the children were adults, I started living a quiet life by myself.
After all the busyness, now that the kids are grown, maybe I should go on a trip. Jacob keeps paying the alimony even though I said it's okay to stop. Why does he continue?
Suddenly, I got a call from a classmate, Kinsley. We are still in touch, bonded by the fact that our children have grown up.
Do you know? Your ex-husband Jacob was recently arrested. What? Why? Didn't you see the news? Apparently, he was making a lot of money from underground jobs. They're investigating where the money went.
That got me thinking about the money I was still receiving under the guise of alimony. I called the police and informed them about Jacob and the money he was sending. It turned out Jacob, who got involved in underground jobs, had become mentally ill and couldn't comprehend things, and he was still habitually paying the alimony. I was surprised by this and arranged through the police to refund the money to the victims. The eldest son and the twins were also shocked.
What is Dad doing?
I'm totally appalled. It's embarrassing to even walk around the neighborhood.
Well, but you know, this is what they call karma. When you do bad things, you face the consequences. So you guys should also avoid doing bad things, okay?
Okay. Afterward, I considered visiting the prosecuted Jacob, but decided against it. He's someone I'm no longer connected to. And so, I continued to enjoy my freedom.